Councilman, good to see you again here.
Glad to be here as always.
Your committee voted unanimously to start looking at options for places to move Dallas City Hall, for the city manager's office to do this here. Do you think the votes exist today to actually move City Hall?
No, absolutely not. We voted, like you said, to go look at options and look at costs that are out there for us to move. We don't have the full financial picture yet, and myself, and I know at least a few others have said, we can't make a final determination on whether we're going to stay and renovate or whether we're going to go until we understand the costs that are out there in the market for us to move.
What do you expect that to show? Because downtown Dallas, has vacancy. There's a lot of room to move, and I would imagine that would bring the prices down.
Yeah, our third-party consultant, CBRE, has indicated to us that it is a favorable time, as most people realize in Dallas, and as you just said, for us to look at options somewhere in the CBD. There's a lot of vacant towers, and so the market's kind of in our favor as a government entity to go out and negotiate. So what will that end up with? I think that depends on the skill of the negotiators. What are they able to come to the table with? And that includes everything from the cost per square foot to rent, to maybe help with moving costs, chambers, parking. Parking is a big thing for all the government employees that are in the city. All of those factors will be part of the negotiation process.
But after your committee saw the facilities report about how much it would cost to bring City Hall up to today's code, today's standard, you don't think the votes are there to walk away from that building? Well,
so I think at the end of the day, it's a financial decision that we've got to make. There's also preservation elements and other things associated with it that are very important, but we've got to make a financial decision that's in the best interest of our taxpayers. There's a lot of us that are skeptical about the $1 billion price tag, but I think everybody, if they're being honest, would agree that it is going to cost a lot to bring City Hall up to code, to make it ADA compliant, to put in a grease trap for the cafeteria, to fix the roof, to fix the HVAC, all these things that have been deferred for 40 years. We know it's going to cost a lot. It may not be $1 billion, but it's going to cost a lot. So what is the cost comparative for us to move out, go into some other tower, finish it out for the city, build a chambers, because we got to have a place to have public meetings, pay for parking? All of those things are part of the equation. And I can't just ballpark that and assume that it's going to be a lower number than whatever it would cost to fix City Hall. And I don't think council members can do that either. We need that full financial picture to make an informed, fact-based decision.
Let's talk about the timing on this. Next steps here. When will those options be presented to council? And more than that, when's council going to take a full vote on this?
So next week in a different committee, council is going to look at the economic opportunities around the City Hall complex on Marilla. And that includes, what could go there in place of City Hall, what could be built around it if the building wasn't there. That is also part of the equation. So not just the cost to fix City Hall, cost of rent, but also what's our opportunity cost for not doing something there and our potential revenue for doing something there. So that's coming next week. I anticipate by Wednesday, we'll have a lot of public comments, committee and at full council. And then at Wednesday, we'll give the final blessing for staff to go out and actually take action to talk leases. So we gave come back to us no later than date of late May for the CBRE and the brokers to come back with what they found in the market with some of the best options. I anticipate late May we'll have a better indication of the financial picture.
And this coming Wednesday, this next Wednesday is when the full council will vote and ask the city manager to go out and find options for us.
I believe that's going to be the vote, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Let's talk about the condition of City Hall here for a moment. In the 18 years I've been going down there, it's always had leaks. There's always been issues like any other almost 50-year-old building here. But when we talk about the report that came out, the $1 billion it's going to take to do everything, why does it all have to be done at once? I mean, when I do upgrades at my house, I don't have the money to do everything at once. I do it piecemeal until I can get it all done.
The big problem we have is with asbestos, and that's why the phasing, in my opinion, doesn't quite work. I'm not saying you have to make it the Shangri-La and spend $1 billion. And I think that's the high end of what they anticipated. But to white box it, basically bring it up to where it is today, get rid of the asbestos, make it ADA compliant, do the bare minimum. I think it's in the somewhere like $360 million range, roughly. So the phasing was your question. Why can't we phase it? And you can't. I don't think we can say, I wouldn't want to say to our employees, okay, you're not on level 1, you're in levels 2 through 5. You can stay in there while we clean out the asbestos on level 1. I just don't think that's right to do. I don't even know if it's legal to do that. And so if we're going to do it, we've got to clean it out all at once.
Is the asbestos in the flooring and in the ceiling? Where is it?
It's in so it's not in the walls or concrete, but in the flooring and I believe some of the ceiling in parts of the building. I don't even know if they know for sure everywhere that the asbestos is.
And obviously asbestos isn't harmful unless it's been touched and broken open. Do you need to mess with the floors and the ceiling?
Well, in some cases, to get into where the leaks are at, you've got to actually rip that out as well to replace like the grease trap, for example, that is on the leads up to the 7th floor cafeteria. I mean, it's just like one thing after the other. You mentioned your house and fixing it up. If you pull one part of the house out, you sometimes find 3 or 4 other problems. And I think the experts are assuming that's going to happen, which is why it's such a large price tag estimate.
Is the real estate market the potential to sell the City Hall property, a prime piece of property downtown, the potential to make a buck? Is that what's driving all of this?
I think that's the question I get all the time, and that probably my first question in asking the city manager this, and it really goes back to like, what's the rush?
What is the rush?
The rush is really mostly tied to the convention center. The convention center is undergoing the master plan right now, and we need to know if City Hall is going to stay, then it needs to be designed around City Hall. If City Hall is going to leave, then a complete different design on that eastern portion of the convention center could ensue. So it's going to dictate a lot of the development opportunities that could happen at the convention center. And it's important to make that decision pretty soon. I mean, I'm already having community meetings about which way the Jefferson and Houston viaducts connect my district to downtown, because that design is ongoing for access to downtown through the convention center or under the convention center or around the convention center. And the convention center is going to be designed with that in mind. Same happens with City Hall. We've got to make that determination pretty soon.
But City Hall is not connected to the convention center. I mean, theoretically, you could do these projects separately, couldn't you?
City Hall is actually connected to the convention center.
Is it really underground?
Underground it is. And
but you could still do these separately if you had to.
I think it could be, but it would be a huge miss if the government decided, City Hall decided to move 5 years from now. Let's say we slow rolled this down. We move five years from now. This is 13, 14 acres of developable land, plus you've got your plaza out front, which is parkland that we want to keep. How could we miss that opportunity? I think it would be a huge, I think it'd be a big financial miss for us to not take advantage of doing the master planning all at once.
There's a lot of talk online. I'm sure you've heard of this from critics who say, forget the actual structure. City Hall itself, the plaza out front, is a civic gathering place. The only place in town that folks can go for, protest or for marathons or anything else. Moving City Hall somewhere else to a high rise or somewhere like that, it could lose that civic gathering space, couldn't it?
That is a real consideration we have to take into account. Like I really spent a lot of time talking about the financial aspects of this.
Sure.
And I think that needs to be at the core of our decision. But other aspects, such as the historical preservation aspect of this being an IMP building, the plaza itself. I ran the Dallas Marathon for the first time this year, and it is such a Dallas moment at that marathon every year down in December. Just being with thousands of other Dallasites in this beautiful plaza in front of City Hall. The flip side of that, though, is that City Hall was locked up. There's nobody going in there. It just happened to be on the plaza in front of the building. I think we could find other spaces for public gatherings. I think that plaza could survive and just not have City Hall behind it. It could be another use.
You think it could survive?
The plaza itself?
Yeah, really?
I don't think the plaza itself has to necessarily go if City Hall goes. I don't.
But if I'm a developer, why wouldn't I buy the entire tract of land? Wouldn't I want it all?
I think you would want it all,
Yeah.
certainly as a developer, but it is a separate article than City Hall because it is parkland. So we actually have to.
It really is parkland.
It is considered parkland. We would actually have to go to the voters to do something different with that property. So it certainly is something that I wouldn't write it off as a conversation, but I think the plaza itself is a whole different conversation than the City Hall building.
And so if let's say council decides that we're going to move somewhere else, council can make that decision for City Hall, but in order to get rid of the plaza out front, that would have to go to voters, huh?
It would have to go to voters, and it would be, it'd be a referendum.
Well, which way would that go? I mean, if City Hall goes somewhere else down the street and voters decide they want to keep the plaza, that's not good for the bottom line of the city, I would presume, because you wouldn't make as much off the land, would you?
Well, the plaza itself is it's a park. And so it can be reutilized in a number of different fashions. One of the saddest things about the park is that on any given day, it's vacant. There's not activation like you see at Clyde Warren Park, see at many of our Oak Cliff parks where you've got kids playing out front. It is beautiful, it's iconic, it's monumental, but it's not an activated plaza like you see in so many cities where their central government building is located. And I would like, this is me personally, I'm not speaking for council on this, but I would like to see the plaza, whether we stay there or leave, become more activated and more used on a daily basis.
How much pressure are council members getting to either save City Hall or save the Mavericks in downtown Dallas?
We're getting a lot of pressure for both.
What does that look like, though?
Yeah, so I'm a big Mavericks fan. I have season tickets. I was very happy when the Mavericks announced publicly that they are going to stay in Dallas, either at Valley View Mall or downtown Dallas. And I would love to see them stay at either location. I'm happy they're going to do so. I think that it would be, we wouldn't be being honest if we didn't say that they are clearly looking at what we're going to do with City Hall and going to make a determination after that if they want to be bid on maybe going into that area. But I don't think it has to be the Mavericks down there. I think it could be a wonderful new housing development area where you've got lots of density and people walking around, and we need housing downtown. We need people coming down there to activate our downtown core. So it's a tough decision, but I think we've got to still look at the financial basis, taking the Mavericks and all that outside of this. We've got to look at what makes the most sense for our taxpayers. Do we stay in City Hall? Do we move out of City Hall? I have a pool that's being closed in District 1 at Martin Weiss, and it is a pool used by about 5,300 low-income residents every summer for a few months. The pool's getting closed down because Parks Department can't find $5 million to fix that pool and to bring it back to life and to run that pool. This is happening at 8 other pools across the city. How can I go and tell my residents, we can't pay to fix up your pool, but we're not, on the other hand, saving every dollar we can in our government center, which is really only used by a few residents. Those are the kind of factors we've got to weigh, the financial implications to all the rest of our budget as we make this really hard decision on the government center.
Let me zoom out for a moment. There's lots of empty office space in downtown Dallas. AT&T's moving out. Comerica is abandoning its headquarters after it merged with Fifth Third Bank. Does Dallas have a vision for downtown right now?
I think the mayor's been really clear that our downtown it's an urban center. And many of us on council want to see, I think all of us want to see the downtown come back to life. It's an exciting time because we kind of have a blank slate in which to work with downtown, and we have a few downtown corporate residents who are committed to seeing our downtown come back to life.
But is there a strategy? Is there a plan, do you think, that the city has? Okay, we've had these setbacks, and now it's time to tackle Plan A or Plan B or Plan C. Is there a plan right now for downtown?
I think one part of the plan is the infrastructure itself, and there is a 360 plan for downtown Dallas, which the city and Downtown Dallas Inc. both signed on to. That plan is to create more walkability, more activation on the streets, conversion of some of the one-way back into two-way streets to help with more pedestrian safety and flow of that nature. The bike plan's rolling out. That's all part of the 360 vision plan.
But there's crime and homelessness too that you guys have to deal with.
It's a separate issue, but equally, if not more important. And Housing Forward, as I think you've covered on the show, has actually focused on that on downtown as a targeted area. Is it perfect? Is it completely solved? Absolutely not. But it's part of the overall plan. We have invested a lot of resources, both from our ARPA funds, the Rescue Plan Act funds, to our general fund budget, to make sure the homelessness issue in downtown Dallas is addressed. There's the nighttime code team has been flooding Deep Ellum. It's also gone into my district in Bishop Arts to handle the code violations and some of the crime that's happened at night. And we've been working on the other side of that to make sure the nighttime businesses can be successful with live music and things of that nature through a new permit process. So things are happening. Residents might not see it on like a granular level yet, but it is happening.
Let me ask you about Dallas's WNBA team. You said you were disappointed the city's not come through with a practice facility for the Wings yet, like you guys had hoped to deliver spring of this year. That was supposed to be in your district. There was talk of just giving the Wings money to build it themselves. What are the alternatives the city has right now? Where does it stand?
Yeah, so the Wings facility is delayed, and that part of that is the city's fault for just being the city and being slow. Part of it is the contractor's fault, which is McKissick in this case, for not moving fast enough. And part of it is the Wings have changed what they want to include in their facility. So I don't want to just throw, it's easy to just throw the city under the bus on this, and sometimes I need to do that, but in this case, the fault lies on several different parties. The city is still committed to the Wings, very much so. That was our first big announcement for a professional team coming to Dallas. And literally are talking to Greg Bibb, the president CEO today, about that item.
Well, are there alternatives the city's considering? Other practice facilities? Is a place around Victory Park for them to go at all?
There has been a suggestion that they would play in the bottom of the AAC for now, which has got practice facilities in it since the Mavericks now have a different facility. That has not been worked out yet.
Okay. Let me ask you about the Dallas Stars here briefly, the hockey team. There's been a lot of talk about whether the hockey team might move to Plano. Dallas City Hall, Kim Tolbert, the city manager, says, we don't want that to happen. We're going to try to figure this out. Where do things stand here? Because everyone, every hockey fan and the team itself want to get this figured out.
We talked a lot about the Mavericks. The Stars are, to me and to all of us on council, just as important, just as big a part of our family as the Mavericks, and have been home here ever since I've lived in Dallas. So my understanding, and I'm not at the negotiation table for the city, none of us on council are, is that there is a letter of intent that's been presented by Plano to the Stars. The Stars have that. They haven't signed anything. They're in negotiations with the city for how the American Airlines Center could be converted into a Stars-only arena.
That ups the stakes for the city of Dallas, though, if there's a letter of intent on the table from Plano, doesn't it?
I mean, it's all part of doing business. I mean, the Stars are, they want the best deal for themselves, and I don't blame them for going out and getting it. But at the end of the day, they're the Dallas Stars, and we need to do what we can to keep them in Dallas. And they'll never change their name to the Plano Stars. I don't know why they would even consider that.
Councilman, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me.